Okay, good morning everyone. I am Daisy Mimi Sahon, your teacher in grammar. Today we will discuss noun clause using the subordinating conjunction that. This lesson is for beginners and I will teach you in a deductive way, which means that I'll introduce and explain the lesson to you, and later on I'll give some examples, and you, my students, will complete grammar exercises to become familiar with the pattern. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's get started. Okay, so what are we going to discuss today? So I will explain to you the noun clauses, what is a noun clause, how to spot a noun clauses using that, specifically using that, and exercises. So, okay, before going to the specific lesson, let's review first what is a noun clause. Okay, noun clause is a group of words acting together as a noun. Okay, these clauses are always dependent clauses, which means they do not form a complete sentence or complete thought. Okay, there's no subject, or either there's no verb or predicate. Okay. Okay, so that you are active, may I call on Chelsea to define what is a clause?
Okay, a clause has a subject and a verb and function as one part of speech.
Okay, go on.
It follows, therefore, that a noun clause functions as a noun in a sentence.
Okay, that's right. So basically, this is the composition of a noun clause. There's, the clause. There has to be a clause. Anyway, okay, so let's take a look again. In general, these are the examples of noun clauses, but later on we will just discuss about the subordinating conjunction, which is that. So I like what I see. Like all clauses, a noun clause has a subject and verb. In this example, the subject of the clause is I and the verb is see. So the noun clause is what I see. And the second example is I know that patience has limits. So the noun clause is that patience has its limits. In this example, the subject of the clause is patience and the verb is has. Okay, can you follow? Yes, okay. Okay, how to spot a noun clause? Because noun clauses can appear almost anywhere in a sentence, they can be tricky to spot. One of the easiest ways to spot a noun clause is to look for these words: that, how, what, whatever, which, whom, whomever, who, whichever, why, and whoever. So basically, majority of the examples are start with WH, right? Anyway, so but as I've said a while ago, we will just focus on this word that, this specific word that. Okay. So noun clauses using that, it can be the subject or the object of the verb. So object of the verb means, like, as I've said in the previous lessons, so the object is the person or thing that is affected by the action of the verb. So it's a basic principle, right? And the subject is who or what the sentence is about. Okay, so I believe that he is innocent. So that he is innocent is the object of the verb believe. Okay? Okay. Subject of the verb. So that she should learn how to cook is true. Okay, that she should learn how to cook is true is the subject of the verb is that she should learn how to cook. And the verb is. Okay. So, we're going to talk about noun clauses, and yeah, I will cite more examples that uses the subordinating conjunction that. And we're going to look at a few different sentence structures where we use these noun clauses. Okay, the first example is how we use noun clauses with that after a subject and a verb. Okay, in this example, she discovered that her friend was lying. Okay, it's a terrific it's a terrible sentence, but yeah, she discovered that her friend was lying. So the whole clause together is whole clause here is acting like the object of the verb, which is that her friend was lying. So the verb is discovered, right? So we can use lots of different verbs in these sentences. So not basically from this context, but we can use assume, agree, believe, conclude. She concluded that her friend was lying, for example. And also, we can use a lot of different verbs, right? As I've said a while ago. And you will notice that this noun clause has a sentence word order. Her friend was lying. So we have a subject, her, and the verb for this noun clause. Okay? Okay, the second sentence structure with the noun clause with that is after a person, be verb, and adjective. For example, he is confident that he will pass the test. So he, the person, be verb is, and adjective, and the noun clause, that he will pass the test. So we can use a lot of different adjectives in this place. We could say he is thrilled, or he is happy, or he is sad, or something like that, but not necessarily from this context, but we can use those adjectives. And he is sad, he is sad. Okay, and use okay, number 3. With it be verb and an adjective. So in this example, it's obvious that grammar is important. So the third sentence structure I want to discuss it with it, yeah, right? Be verb and an adjective. So in this case, it's obvious that grammar is important. You can also use a lot of different adjectives in this place. So for example, possible, true, with our noun clause with that. And you can see this noun clause has subject, grammar, right? And verb is. In all 3 of these examples, the word that is actually optional. Have you ever thought about that? Okay, it's optional, right? And we can include the word that, or we can omit it. And the words that follow are still a noun clause. Okay, for example, she discovered her friend was lying. He is confident he will pass the test. It's obvious grammar is important, but we often omit that when we are speaking, but we include it in formal writing. So it's still important, right? So you have to take note of that. Okay, the last example is a little bit different, okay? And in this case, we're using the noun clause as the subject of a sentence. So I've showed you a while ago about the subject of sentence, but this is like more explanation. So now remember, a noun clause acts like a noun, right? In a sentence. So it makes sense, yeah, it makes sense that it could act as the subject of a sentence, one of the important functions of nouns. In this case, we actually use the phrase, the fact that, but we can also use like simply that. This is probably the most common way that we use noun clause as the subject of sentences. It's not very common overall, but if we're going to do it, it's very common to use the fact that. The fact that Anna doesn't understand spoken English is worrisome. We have a noun clause that has subject and verb doesn't understand, and the whole clause is acting like the subject of this sentence. This whole clause is the subject of the verb doesn't understand. Okay. The whole is, sorry, the verb is. Okay, sorry. Now I think it's time for us to do some exercises. Are you ready? Yes, okay. Okay, identify the noun clause and tell whether it functions as a subject or object. Okay. For number 1 and number 2, may I call on Chelsea? So we identify first the noun clause and tell whether it functions as a subject or object of the sentence. Okay?
Okay, number 1 and 2, right?
Yes, Chelsea.
I know that my sister is a good dancer. The noun clause is that my sister is a good dancer, and it is function as an object. And for number 2, that she get to see her favorite author is awesome. The noun clause is that she get to see her favorite author. It functions as a subject.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. For 3, 4, 5, may I call on Petrus?
Okay, so for number 3, I am disappointed that Amy will not come to my party. The noun clause is that Amy will not come to my party, and it functions as an object. So, okay. For number 4, the fact that Sophia doesn't eat bread or sweets is surprising. The noun clause is that the fact that Sophia doesn't eat bread or sweets is the subject of the sentence and the noun clause. So for last number 5, that the moon is beautiful is a fact. The noun clause is that the moon is beautiful and it functions as a subject.
Okay. Okay, thank you, students. You are so active. Okay. Okay, the answer key. I know that my sister is a good dancer. So I think Chelsea got it right. So that my sister is a good dancer. Okay, and it functions as an object because the no is the, do you remember? Is the verb, right? And that she get to see her favorite author is the subject, and the verb is. And you got it right. This is the noun clause functions as subject. And number 3, I am disappointed that Amy will not come to my party. And that Amy will not come to my party functions as an object, and the verb is disappointed, right? The fact that Sophia doesn't eat bread or sweets is surprising. So the whole noun clause, the fact that Sophia doesn't eat bread or sweets, is the subject, and the verb is. And that the moon is beautiful is the fact, is the subject, and the is the verb. Okay. That ends our session for today. Thank you for active participation. See you in the next meeting. Bye.